Welcome back, everyone, and I hope everyone is safe and the people around them are safe. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to warmly welcome you to the season finale of Stories of Opportunity Season 3 with your host and coach Aditya Sisodia. For those of you who are joining in for the first time, we are currently live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. A bit about me: I'm an internationally certified coach where I support individual and high performance business leader with their performance optimization, be it their business, team, relationship, or their leadership. If you would like to know more, my website is www.coachsisodia.com. But today, we have a very special guest among us, and a speaker for the day is someone who has personally inspired me to walk on this path. We all say a lot about get trained, get mentored, get counseled, get coached. We follow that or not, that is a different thing. But I'm very much humbled to introduce my mentor who has guided me. And she's one person who has given me the conviction in the path I'm walking. And that is why we have the topic for the day, which is the importance of training. Now, when was the last time you trained yourself? And before we introduce our speaker, I would like to ask you, what does the word training mean to you? How do you train yourself? Which was the last book you read? Which was the last thought empowering conversation you had? Which was the last certification degree you did to truly empower yourself? A bit about our today's speaker. Our speaker for the day is Pallavi Katoch. She's a corporate trainer, executive and life coach, master NLP practitioner, research scholar from Oxford University, educator, and she is the founder of Perform. Now, she has over 25 plus years of experience in the field of education, training, and empowerment. She brings with her analytical skills, which has supported organization across various domains, be it BFSI, automotive, healthcare, NGO, you name it. She has worked with their leaders and team for performance optimization using various techniques, be it for emotional well-being or be it for workforce optimization through various training intervention such as one-on-one versus group mentoring, coaching, counseling, training, and through psychometric assessment. She is also an internationally DISC psychometric certified professional. She has been recognized for her research work by Oxford University. And she is a BNI member. She works with senior leadership and guides them. So without further ado, let's invite our speaker from today and let's roll the intro. Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Aditya. Thank you so much for having me over here.
Ma'am, it's my sheer pleasure to host you and to again learn with you. Every conversation is thought empowering for me. And so I got jealous and I thought, why don't I introduce you to our community?
The
So here
pleasure
you
is
are.
mine. In fact, I was literally waiting for this conversation, and especially, when it's with you and all the insights that you share, you've been sharing on all the platforms. So it's been a fantastic, learning for me as well. as to what you've been showing and portraying to the world of knowledge and skill, and more so training and development. So thank you so much, Aditya, for having me over.
Ma'am, the credit goes out to you. I have learned all this from you.
I won't say much about both of us, but yes, we were in the same boat, riding the storm. But yes, I guess a lot of learning and a lot of discussions we've had. So I really am looking forward to today's conversation.
Ma'am,
Thank
my
you.
pleasure. Welcome, ma'am. So, ma'am, I gave a formal introduction. I would invite you if you can share something about yourself for our viewers who are currently joining us live.
Okay. So, hi everybody, and first of all, I hope all of you all are safe in the present crisis situation. Uh, my name is Pallavi Katoch, and with an experience of over 25 years in the field of learning and development, I started my journey as a trainer and a coach and worked for various corporates. The longest stint I had was with the Hero Group, wherein I was heading their retail vertical in terms of training and development. More from the academic aspect, I have trained professionals across industries, and it's been 5 years that I have started my own training company, Perform. And yes, it's been a fantastic ride so far, helping professionals to execute efficiently and, of course, uh, enhancing their skill sets, the ones that are required to be growing personally as well as for the business growth in the organizations that they're working for. So it's been a fantastic ride so far. A lot of learning, a lot of ups as well as downs, but I guess that's a part of life. Very happy to be here with Aditya and share my, uh, you know, experiences and a few, probably a few things and info about training, the need for training. So, yes, you can shoot your questions, audience.
Great, ma'am. Ma'am, so our very first question, which we address to all our speaker is, why did you choose this topic for our today's conversation, the importance of training?
Okay, so Aditya, training for many has various definitions, and surprisingly, uh, with due regard to people who are there, who are the key decision makers, surprisingly, not much importance is given to behavioral training or the so called corporate training, as they say. It's more emphasis given to technical training. However, I feel and my experience says that yes, training is overall development, and there's so many gaps in skills, and there's so many gaps in how to actually tap the potential of professionals, that is more often than not overlooked. And the worst is during a crisis, training always takes a backseat, whereas I feel that training should be ongoing and should be given that importance which it deserves, and it is the need of the hour as well. So that's the reason why I thought that yes, why not talk about the need for training, sometimes known as learning and development. The main difference between training and development is that training is generally focused on the acquisition of new skills, while development is concerned with the improvement or extension of existing skills. So we rarely think about development alone, since without training, there aren't any skills to develop.
Great, ma'am. I have a follow-up question, ma'am. Ma'am, why is training seen more as a burden rather than as an opportunity? Now, my intention is like you and I have really seen a lot of corporate. Unless it's a mandate, it is treated as a checklist criteria. And
Yes,
And in our
yes.
country, we do not have this culture of natural learning, be it a
Hmm.
senior professional or a young management or an engineering or any other graduate. They do not feel the importance of behavioral intervention in self development, and
Yes,
they see it more like I'll take it when I feel it. They do not make it a lifestyle. And trainers like us, facilitators like us, are considered to be magician, that we'll come and in those few moments of conversation we will just fly with our wand and voila, the change is there. So why is there such a limiting belief when it comes to training seen as a burden, as a cost, rather than as a self development intervention? Over to you, ma'am.
okay. See, we're always looking at benefits, and when asked what employee benefits your firm offers, most will initially think of monetary bonuses based on performance, additional, leave or for longevity in the company, or even flexible working structures. However, staff training is often excluded from this list. Uh, Despite the fact that it demonstrates a commitment by firms to professional and personal development, which allows employees to continue their journey. However, as you said so rightly, that training is taken to be a burden, and as I said earlier, that many companies cut costs during tough times, and training is the first to bear the brunt, right? They feel that training is an investment which actually doesn't give any tangible result, and that is the mindset of most stakeholders or key decision makers. And it's like they're always in a hurry: do it now, do it now, do it now, without realizing that without training and development, which is so critical to future success of your company, things do not function the way it's to be functioning. So I guess it's all because of the cost. They feel that it's a huge investment without any tangible results. That's what I feel, I've experienced, especially when I talk with the stakeholders, or to be very specific, the HR key decision makers. They feel that yes, training, it it is there, it is a part of their calendar, it is a part of their growth and development, scaling, but I guess they just don't give so much of importance to it, and therefore it becomes a burden, sadly.
Great, ma'am. So, ma'am, we have a question from one of our viewers, Shobek. He is joining us from LinkedIn, and I'll just display it on the screen. Shobek has a very long question. In the
Hmm.
modern world, where the patience has gone for a toss because of social media and instant gratification, how do you make an individual understand the value of training, which is an ongoing process? If someone does not see the progress, how are we supposed to stick to the process? And this is one of the challenge, because as trainers we are expected that in 2 hours in micro learning we should give them the result, and training has become more like a feedback mechanism. Oh, many people like the
Absolutely.
entertainment without any value. So what are your thoughts on that, ma'am?
Okay, to answer Shobe and your question, first we have to understand the need for training and the value that it gives all of us. Now, whenever we're talking about behavior is so dynamic that you cannot have an overnight change in your behavior. However, as we say, every great thing that happens, every outcome is by those small steps that you take. Now, as Aditya, you said a 2 day intervention or a 2 day workshop does not suffice. I feel it's not about a 2 day or the duration, it's about what insights you get. Have you actually, or has the trainee and the learner and the trainer actually understood the need? Now, more often than not, the gaps are never identified. It's like, people just thrust it on a trainer that, okay, we want a time management, training, or we want a soft skills training. Now, that's so vague, so subjective that even the learners, when they come to the training room, they are surprised because they feel that no, that's not the need, there is more to it. So first and foremost, we have to understand the gap. We have to understand that yes, in your performance management, in your appraisal, what are those skill gaps that have been specified, and what are we doing about it? Now, secondly, it is ongoing, because unless we, kind of acquire those skills and put to practice and see the outcome, take inputs from your peers, and actually see that yes, has it impacted in the way you have, executed, I don't think you will see any result. Now, first and foremost, you as a learner and a trainer has to understand that yes, this is how I was doing, but after training, this is how it should be done, or this is how I further refurbish what I already have been doing, right? So, therefore, this process is a long term process, but not something which you do not get results. You definitely get results. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been training. And it is a requisite, it is an important requisite, because you have to look at the benefits. It increases your productivity. It actually, helps you understand where you are, your weaknesses, how you can cash in on strengths, and so on and so forth. So, the employee confidence is built, developing key performers, and, the team organization, and of course, the morale of the person. So, therefore, I said, Shobe and Aditya, that this is ongoing. You will understand the value of training when you are actually into it. Whatever the trainer, the coach, the mentor, your in-house, your supervisors, your managers, how they, kind of advise you or coach you, how an external trainer comes and trains you, if it meets your expectations, and if you see that yes, this is how I need to execute for better efficacy, for better execution, you will surely see the value.
Great, ma'am. So, ma'am, just a follow-up question I have for our audience. If you can just dissect the spectrum in which broadly we come under, like we are a counselor also, we are a mentor also, we are a coach also, we are a content creator also, we are an ID specialist also. So, for our audience who are from not L&D background, if you can just define them, that when should you reach out to a counselor, when should you reach out to a trainer, when should you reach out to a mentor, a coach, an NLP practitioner, therapist, because this is something which is missing in the market, and because of which people confuse. Okay, a trainer is a trainer. So ma'am, if you can just break down on the different concept so that people can also realize at what path in their life what person they should reach out to.
Okay. It's very important to understand the real reasons why we are so interested in the importance of training. What is coaching, what is mentoring, and what is counseling, right? Now, uh, see, training is all about acquisition of new skills, helping somebody, helping professionals to acquire new skills, and at the same time, to bridge the gaps in the skill sets that are required in their day to day transactions and functionings. And that's where, the trainer comes in and plays the role. Okay. When it's coaching, it is about certain areas of a person, more often than not, the competencies, the behavior, which becomes, not, I won't say impediment would be too harsh a word, but wherein people, you know cannot streamline their path as to how to make decisions, how to find a solution to the problems that they are facing in the various facets of their day to day transactions in their workplace. So that's a time when they reach out to a coach, and the coach helps that person to find a solution. Okay. The coach does not give any advice, the coach leads that coachee and the learner to find the path, the roadmap, right? Which is a workable roadmap for that person to execute better. When it comes to counseling, yes, we do play the role of counseling when, more often than not, these professionals, they need somebody to fall back on, share their very inner worries, problems, and they feel that they cannot, disclose it or discuss it with any of the peers or friends, or for that matter, even a coach. They look for advice. They look for certain, given workable solutions from the counselor, and that's where the counselor comes in, right? So it is very different from coaching, because coaching is about self help, and the coach only guides that person to help themselves to, find that roadmap which is workable. However, counseling is different from coaching, and the counselor's role, as per me, is to advise and give the leads, and at times even, specify that this is how you need to, find a solution to the existing problem that you have. So therefore, the role of the trainer, the coach, the counselor becomes very, very, diversified and very different.
Now, ma'am, one of the follow-up question is, why do people hesitate so much in reaching out to a trainer? Definitely, the cost is one thing, but what are the other factors? Why do people
The
hesitate?
most, I feel the most important factor, the most common factor is the fear of judgment. Okay.
Mhm,
What will others say? Right.
mhm.
You even find professionals, I've seen it in many of my training sessions ever since, that these professionals, when they realize the importance of certain aspects, maybe a simple thing like how to be assertive, how to say no, then they come, offline, they take it on a personal, conversation with me, that, ma'am, what if I ask this question in public or in a meeting? Because my boss will say this, or my peers would say this, or the other members in the meeting would say this, this, this. So it's always a fear of judgment, or also the second thing is a fear of rejection. Yeah. So more often than not, these two fears, they kind of become an impediment for people to reach out to trainers or counselors or coaches, right? And then more often than not, what I have seen is these professionals, they kind of go, or go into a shell, and that affects their work. It reflects in their behavior, and therefore it affects their execution of tasks.
And ma'am, speaking of the fear of judgment, I have a follow-up question. Like, what advice would you give to a smart driven individual about the real world, and what advice to ignore? because we have worked with professional across the spectrum, be it the training or be it the one-on-one. So for the people who haven't yet accepted the whole idea of getting a personal trainer, mentor, counselor, coach, what advice would you give them?
First thing is, for any individual to know about the real world is to actually experience it rather than the bookish knowledge. So the first thing is, for the younger lot, for the newer ones who've just transited from campus to corporate, I would say observe and be aware of what is happening in and around your domain and vertical. And this is applicable to any professional at any level, and given the fact that they are at various levels and holding various positions, I feel awareness is something which people lack, most professionals lack. And also, as we say, that knowledge of your work, one, and knowledge about what is happening in and around you is so important. So knowledge, you have to do it yourself. You can gain the knowledge yourself by educating yourself. Awareness, again, by yourself. To be trained on a particular skill set, that you have to find out that where I lack and who do I approach for getting trained. So it's I have come across organizations wherein most of the employees, they're so well equipped only because of the reason that they nominate themselves. They know that yes, this is the area I need to kind of enhance, and I need to be trained upon, and therefore they nominate themselves for various training programs which are notified or announced in their organizations. And these are the people who actually can correlate between the real world and also the academia that they have carried forward from all the qualifications that they have brought with them. So that, as per me, is the real world. Experience it, observe, be aware, and have the knowledge, the right knowledge. Yeah, that is important. What advice to ignore? Ignore those advice which doesn't work for you. That's it. Is as simple as that, which is none of your business. Yeah. And there's so much that happens all around you. There is politics. It is inevitable. There is a lot of bickering. There is a lot of hearsay in any organization, in any setup, right? I would say advice advices to ignore is what you feel that no, this doesn't work for me. I don't need it. And you will find so many to give you free advice. You have to see, well, does that advice work for me? Do I really need it? Will it help me?
Okay. So, ma'am, I have a question for you, given the fact that you mentioned about the real world and the advice. Uh, Now we are seeing a lot of people portraying themselves as trainer, and if you will open Facebook, you get so many training posts that become this in 5 days at 100 rupees at free or things like that. So what are your thoughts? Because somewhere we do understand that this is just a commercial activity and no judgment against anyone, but what are your thoughts on these upcoming trends? Because as per the survey in online courses recorded, be it Udemy or any other, we see that the enrollment rate is high, but the completion rate is very low. Similarly, it's with these courses also, which is used as a clickbait to invite people at a low ticket size and then just keep them into the system and then upgrade them to a higher package. So, what are your thoughts on this? Because somewhere the whole idea of getting trained, like the initial concept of Gurukul, where we used to go to a trainer, be it our mythological books or anything, where people used to dedicate a time. But in today's time, people are looking for quick fix solution. Like you also mentioned, look for an advice. It's more than an advice; it's an instant gratification. Oh, I should feel better. and that is resulting in anxiety and panic among the masses. So, what are your thoughts on this, ma'am?
Okay, so to each their own. I mean, there are people out there in the market who want to sell themselves and want to make those quick bucks, right? And pardon me for saying that, but yes, I've had people coming to me, and because I work with fantastic consultants who've been with me for many years now, and especially when I started Perform, I've had a team who are freelancers, who are so very knowledgeable, so experienced, and I also have young trainers. uh, but there are some who approach me to say that, ma'am, I can train, I can do this, I can do that, and it's just that I need the money. And yes, I will change lives in a jiffy. I mean, these are the words some trainers use. Sadly, this doesn't work. I mean, trainers have to be strategic thinkers and partners. A trainer becomes a partner with the learner. A trainer has to be well versed with the content and the context. Why do they need training? And this is a huge gap that I see in most of the trainers that I have come across. As I said, they want to make a quick buck. They're just looking at the feedback. They're just looking at those little activities that they do and create that wow moment. But that's very temporary. It doesn't work well, and that is the reason why training earns a bad reputation. And probably that's the reason why Shobe asked that question, that what value does it hold? More often than not, most of the trainers do not do a need analysis. They just don't understand why do they need the training. It's not enough to just have the HR spell out the modules and say that, okay, XYZ, we need this training. Are there any follow-up questions from the trainer? No. They just in exuberance say yes, and therefore it becomes a damp squib. It's very temporary. The feedback may be good, but after that, these learners, the trainees, they don't know what to kind of apply in their actual real world, in their workplace. So trainers, therefore, as I said, they have to be strategic thinkers, and they become a partner. They become a learning partner for the trainees. They become involved with the project because they too need to look at the outcome. The first thing is, what is the outcome that you're looking at? Do you really ask those questions? No. Most of the trainers do not even ask these questions. And that is why, uh, trainers earn a bad reputation, or forget the bad reputation. I won't say bad reputation. Yes, you would find professionals, or you would find organizations, you would find HR people saying that, oh, yes, XYZ is a good trainer, but that's it. I mean, so yes, we need to kind of somewhere, uh, I don't know, there cannot be any policing or there cannot be any control in this, but somewhere trainers need to be trained before they actually go onto the floor and train. It's so very important. Cut, copy, paste does not work.
That is really a powerful learning, ma'am, because what you mentioned, that trainers have to become partner with the stakeholders, with the decision maker, and that is something which is really missing. Because if what about the post session documentation or outtake
Absolutely.
form where
Absolutely.
the learner journey can be mapped and also the learner has got something to look forward to? Great. So, ma'am, we'll take a short 30 seconds break and then we will recircle. I'm just
Sure.
running a small ad. And we are back. So, ma'am, my next question to you is, and this is a very personal question: what events have shaped the person you are today?
Okay, I would say it's all the experiences that I've had, so far. Uh, Married, let me start with, my background. A hill girl, born and brought up in Shillong, and always very quiet, very reserved, but was very, very academically oriented. And I always had that, urge to do something for people. And I'm glad I took this line, of course. So, of course, doing psychology gave me a huge break, and it was a huge learning. And of course, married to an army officer and understanding how people actually struggle, especially because Aditya, you would relate to this. Army officers' lives are not very easy, and more so for the families. So we, as the better halves and the wives of army officers, would have to take care of the soldiers' wives who, during field postings, would be alone, would have their struggles. So my journey started from there, actually, when I talk about counseling and training. And I would counsel them and help them overcome all the struggles, especially the mental and emotional struggles they had to deal with. That is one. And after that, yes, hero mine when I started my corporate journey, and started as a trainer. Hero mine gave me a platform which will always hold a huge place in my heart. They shaped me to be an effective trainer, and I furthered that by being mentored by fantastic human beings and professionals. To name a few, I have Colonel Shiv Nandan Singh. Jamal, I have Colonel Sudeep Mukherjee, who holds a very, very special place in my heart. Uh, in fact, he is the one who has shaped me to be an effective coach, I would say, uh, because I did my master NLP with him. I'm a master practitioner. And it was not only NLP, but it was about understanding behaviors of people. So that furthered my knowledge and my ability to be an effective trainer and coach, if I may say so, that I'm effective. Then, of course, uh, I had Inderjeet Singh, again, under whom I was guided and coached to become an executive coach. So I owe it to him. And then, of course, the various people I have met, including you, Aditya. Uh, Everybody has contributed in shaping me and being who I am today. So it's not only one person, but yes, most importantly, my husband, Colonel Yogeshwar Singh Katoch, he has always supported me, and since he holds a position in the corporate now, that he's hung his boots, he hung his boots 10 years ago, and is in the corporate. The many things which I have learned from him, we keep discussing about issues, people management issues, um, that it has been a huge, huge learning and support for me. So that's why I said he's been my huge and the most important support in my life to help me shape myself. And here I am in front of you.
That's really good. That's really good, ma'am. One thing which I've learned from you is the power of gratitude and acknowledging the people around. So, ma'am, let me ask you this question then. how has a failure or an apparent failure set you up for success? And what is your favorite failure?
So life without failure, you know, is something I cannot relate to because there have been many failures in my life. Um, First and foremost, when I took up this career and I knew that I wanted to be a trainer and a hardcore one, I knew I wanted to be a coach. I I did fail when it came to training people who are blue collared, the employees of organizations, because there I had a handicap, and today I'm sharing it in public. I had a handicap of training in Hindi, so that I consider as one of my most favorite failure. I won't say favorite failure, but yes, there was a huge learning because I realized that even with my, Hinglish and broken Hindi, uh, quite as they say, as the learner said, anglicized Hindi pronunciation, yet there was a huge learning. And that was a huge success for me because all these training, despite me having huge arguments with my boss for putting me there, this I'm talking about 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, when my boss suddenly said, Pallavi, you have to take a training, and apparently the learners are all Hindi speaking, so do not use English. I was flabbergasted, and I had a massive argument with him, but I had to because a commitment I had, and I was, put to test, I would say. But Aditya, the learners could relate to what I said. And as I said, I used English, but they could understand because it was not about using Shuddh Hindi, but it was using a mix of, English and Hindi words. And I realized that I connected with them so well that that actually, made the training so successful that I would say that was one of my favorite failures, of course. Secondly, another failure of mine was, and yes, I would just like to correct you over here. In my introduction, you said that I'm a BNI member. No, I was a BNI member, learned a lot, especially the skill of networking. However, the failure here was for me to, go door to door and reach out to people and, do the business networking. That wasn't my cup of tea. And I feel that was a failure, an apparent failure. But it's fine. I learned a lot from BNI, and also had the opportunity to go to Los Angeles and meet, various people from across various fields and walks of life. So yes, every failure probably takes you towards success. It is a natural phenomena for me, for everyone, I guess. So yes, there have been failures, and that has set me up for successes. But as I said, the Hindi training was my favorite and will always be my favorite failure.
Great, ma'am. Great. So, ma'am, my uh, next question that I would like to ask you is, and I would like to understand from you, like when it comes to your personal training, what's your life mantra? Because you are one person in my leadership circle who I really get inspired and who I aspire to be at. How are you such a constant learner? How are you constantly evolving? Because every time you amaze me when I get to learn that, okay, this is something new you are working upon. So, what's the secret sauce?
Aditya, just two sentences. I am curious and I'm not judgmental. I my curiosity actually has made me grow, learn, evolve. and I make no bones. I mean, I learn from my children, my sons. I learn from a fresher. I learn from, especially when I go to universities. I am impaneled with BIMTech, and I've done a lot of work with AIMT and other universities. Those youngsters, they amuse me. They amuse me. I learn from them. Probably my curiosity, and therefore that's my life mantra: be curious, don't be judgmental. And I follow it to the T.
Great, ma'am. So, talking of this, ma'am, my next question is what have you become better at saying no to?
No to trainings which I know are just an eye wash, and I just refuse. Despite the fact that they come up, they say, Pallavi, please do it. I know that it's just an eye wash, or just to, fit in the HR calendar. So I've started saying no to those kind of trainings. Secondly, I started saying no to people who approach me and say that, Pallavi, we want a behavioral change by your training, but it's going to be just a 4-hour training. What rubbish! I mean, so I've started to say no. Not that I hadn't, I didn't say no earlier, but I would just, like, going by my nature, I would hate to decline any offers. So, but now I've become more wise, I would say, more smart to say no, and I have become more assertive.
Great, ma'am. So, ma'am, one of the question that I would like to ask you, but before that, we have got some comments from LinkedIn. Like Shavik is really appreciating the fact that you shared your journey, and then we have got other users who have logged in from YouTube. And Shavik has also complimented, ma'am. That's a beautiful mantra. Focus on
Thank you.
learning and growth by being curious throughout your life. So,
Thank you.
ma'am,
Thank you.
talking of this, like we are in this endless loop of what should I say, pandemic. One lockdown gets over, another lockdown comes, and it gets extended.
Yes.
So, in the last few months, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved you as a person?
Aditya, just yesterday I had shared this with one of the closed group I am, working for. This pandemic and the crisis that is looming large in our country, especially now with the second wave, I have learned that yes, just enjoy every moment of your life. One. Second, don't stress, rather look at how you can find solutions in current situations. Yeah, that is what I have learned. And third thing is, just be yourself. Know more about yourself, understand what your core values are. You have a lot of resources within you, so use them to the highest potential. You don't have to look outside, you just have to look inwards. And this is what I have learned, because there have been especially last year when this lockdown just begun, there were many trainers who approached me and they were in distress. All I could say is, with due regard to the fact that they were going through troubled times, there were trainers who were single-handedly managing their, livelihood. But suddenly, life came to a standstill for them. But I said that no, control what you can. Stress won't give you a solution. Rather, look at how you can find opportunities, but pause for a while. All shall be okay. And I guess that worked for them, and it worked for me as well. So yeah, I won't say it's a new belief, but yes, the behavior is that be consistent in what you're doing. I'm a fitness freak, and Aditya, as you know, I'm targeting a full marathon. So that consistency has led me to be, more effective in my fitness regime, and I've stuck to what I uh, do, and I am actually reaching there. I hope the situation dies down soon. We have greener pastures coming our way, and I can actually, fulfill my dream to run that full marathon. So, yeah, I guess the habit is just show up every day in whatever you do. Just show up. It's okay. You would have your, bad days, you would have your low days, but just showing up makes all the difference.
That is really something powerful. And ma'am, do let me know whichever marathon you are registering. I'll also drop by. Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, just one
Yes,
final
Aditya,
question.
are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm here only, ma'am. Yeah. So, ma'am, just one last question for this season is: what do you do when you feel overwhelmed or unfocused? How do you center yourself?
Okay. I do feel overwhelmed or unfocused. The first thing that I do is I take a pause. And I just, because when I'm overwhelmed, I know I get very flustered, and it shows in, because I'm a very transparent person, so it shows in my demeanor and my disposition. And I know it'll affect everybody around me, and especially now that it's work from home, and my sons are working from home, my husband's working from home. I have an old mother-in-law who's not too well. I know if I, because as I said, it shows in my demeanor. If I am low and I am flustered, it definitely will impact all the five people I am with. So, four people I am with. So, therefore, I take a pause, I step back, and I go to, a place where I'm alone. And that's the time I take stock of things, and then I'm fine. And the second thing I do is I listen to some good music. I'm a diehard music fan. I love music, and I listen to music, and then I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. So it's not something which kind of drags on with me. Natural for anybody to feel overwhelmed or unfocused, and especially in today's crisis situation. But that's what I do. I just take a pause, and then it's music, and then I'm back.
So you have got your playlist ready with you. That really helps me.
Yes, I do. I do.
Great. So we have got a comment from Shavik that thank you so much, ma'am, for the dose of positivity. It's very inspiring. Great, Shavik.
My pleasure,
So,
Shavik.
ma'am, how can people reach out to you?
Well, I am on the social media platforms, and though as I said, I am, I like to call myself a recluse. Though my work, takes me to various zones, and I interact with people. However, if you want to reach out to me, I have my website, that is Perform Trainings, www at performtrainings.com. Also, you can reach out to me through LinkedIn at Pallavi Katoch, Instagram Pallavi.5, and I also have my mail, I think, which is displayed by Aditya, Pallavi at performtrainings.com, or Pallavi3Katoch at gmail.com. I'm here, and I'd like people to reach out to me for coaching, for training, for counseling, because I'm here, and that's something I am completely and totally committed to.
Great, ma'am. Great. So, ma'am, how was your experience? Because it has been like over what 2 years since we physically met.
Yes, 1.5 years? No, yeah, 2 years. Yes,
2 years
Aditya.
and 6 months.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. So I think the last we met was with that, the startup company that we were doing some assessments for, right, Nitya?
yes,
So,
yes,
yes, Aditya, first, thank you so much because it's always so nice to be in a conversation with you. And as I said in the beginning, that I'm amazed and amused by the great work that you're doing. So
thank
I
you.
had a fantastic experience, and I hope the audience also, because I hope I could contribute by virtue of this conversation and also help people understand that training is essential. Training is the need of every hour, and without training, you don't reach where you want to go. So do it. I mean, and more importantly, I think it's important for people after training, after being coached, to act. So just act. And till the time you take the leap, how will you know what's there on the other side, right? So, yes, Aditya, it was so very refreshing for me. I thoroughly enjoyed, and I hope you and the viewers enjoyed
Yes, ma'am.
this conversation. Thank you for having me
Likewise,
over, Aditya.
welcome, ma'am. And I look forward to meeting you in person quite soon as things get
Absolutely,
settled down.
Aditya. Absolutely. I look forward to. And all the best to you, Aditya. God bless,
Thank-
Godspeed. And for our viewers, stay safe, stay healthy, and Godspeed.
Great, ma'am. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the season finale of season three. And shortly, we would be coming out with season four of Stories of Opportunity. Stay tuned. And if you haven't done so, do subscribe to our channel. And as always, don't forget to comment. Good day.
Thank you. Good day.